Welcome to Season 8, The Ocho. Hey, welcome to the official 8th season of The Right Way. I'm your host, Garrett K. Jones, and I'm excited to share what I've got in store. But before we jump in, here's a couple of announcements I think you need to be aware of. First up, my newest book, Midnight Playground, launched July 28th on audiobook through Audible, Amazon, and iTunes. Now, if you're interested in getting a copy, the link can be found in the video description. But in the meantime, check out this awesome trailer. Stories and the art of telling them take different forms. Some stories are brief, lasting less than a page, while others take more than a simple breath to tell. And if telling a story is breathing out, then reading one is breathing in. Some breaths make us laugh, others inspire love or intrigue, while still others cause us to gasp with fear. From romance to comedy to action to horror, fantasy novelist Garrett K. Jones offers readers a collection of short stories meant to excite and fascinate with equal measure as he invites you into the midnight playground where creativity and storytelling flourish. Second, I have a short list of local events coming up where you'll be able to meet me, and if you're interested, pick up copies of my books, and these will be signed copies, of course. I was just at Batman Day, held on September 20th at DJ's Collectibles in downtown Hanford. I'm sure I'll have some other events prior to the end of the year, but the big event I have coming up is the Moonlit Revelry Ball, held on February 7th at the Visalia Convention Center in Visalia, California. This event will be equal parts fantasy author convention and fancy formal dinner and dance. As far as I'm aware, tickets are still available, but they're going fast, so you'd better hurry up. Lastly, if you're into geek culture or are a fan of Star Wars, Star Trek, the MCU, and all other topics that fall into the geeky category, check out Feast of Fandoms on YouTube. This is an awesome curated collection of weekly and monthly podcasts and regularly posted shorts. Check them out and help support a group of amazing folks that I've come to call friends. So this season, I'm changing things up a little bit with this particular segment. Instead of focusing just on top 10s lists, I'm renaming the entire segment Book Recs. I mean, it kind of makes sense considering the fact it's already in the bumper, but guest hosts are going to have an opportunity to pick if they want to do a top 10 countdown or just do an in-depth breakdown of a single title from their choosing. I want there to be a little more variation and flexibility in the content provided to my audience. So, coming up, here's who you get to meet going into the fall and winter. In 1 week, we're kicking off spooky season by having horror author, graphic artist, and indie bookstore owner Ashley Greathouse returning to The Right Way for the first time in a long while. And she'll be the first guest host of Season 8. She will be followed in November with returning sci-fi fantasy author Tommy Lee Sexton. And then we will have summer and winter this December with returning author and HR expert Winifred Summer. For author awareness, I have an amazing array of writers that I'm going to be interviewing this season. Next week, I'll be interviewing Garrett K, a sci-fi fantasy writer from Canada. I will follow that up in November with a conversation with fellow Central Valley author Leslie A. Lee, and then I'll wrap up 2025 talking with another local writer from Fresno, Stephen Hernandez. There's also going to be a change to the schedule this year. Normally, I go all the way through July, but while the initial signups for author awareness exploded, filling most of the available spots in just 24 hours from the time I announced them, I wasn't able to get coverage all the way through the summer. So with that said, the last of my interviews will actually end when Author Awareness April ends at the end of April, and with the May episode being the season finale. And then that goes as well for my Book Recs guest hosts, which will actually run their course in March, just before the interview marathon launches. Lastly, we come to the third segment of the show, Creator's Corner. This season I'm taking back the reins, and I'm jumping back into some new content focused on my love of mythology and folklore. This will also take on discussions regarding cryptids and other urban legends. The reason for this is that these are all topics that I have personally delved into for inspiration in my own writing. I'll discuss the origins and backgrounds, and then share how I incorporated them into the projects I've worked on, along with tips for how you might use them in your own writing. I'll also be changing up how things will be done with my live streams. They will still drop on Saturdays, but these will be used to share what I'm doing with my writing projects, as well as reading snippets of my work, just for the fans. That's been something that people have been requesting. I'll also be launching a new bit of video content called Finding Fiction. These will be deep dives into some of my favorite movies and TV franchises. These are going to be more video essay, long-form content pieces where I break down certain themes and repeating elements. My first episode, which focuses on the Mission Impossible film franchise, is already up on Patreon, but will drop on YouTube on the last day of the month. And speaking of Patreon, I just want to remind you that there are 3 support tiers that you can pick from if you want to support this channel on a monthly basis. The first tier is called the Scribbler, which runs for a single US dollar per month. This gets you access to the full uncut author interviews at the start of each month before they go live on YouTube. You'll also get a patron shout out at the end of my live streams. The second tier is called the Wordsmith. This tier runs for $3 US and gives subscribers access to the monthly Creator's Corner segment before it launches on YouTube, as well as the perks from the Scribbler tier. Then of course there is the Novelist tier, which runs $5 US per month. This is actually the best deal because it gives you access to the Finding Fiction video essays, the perks from the lower tiers, plus some behind the scenes content of how I go about making my videos. But if you're looking for just a one-off support option, you can find those as well. You can either send me a one-time tip on Cash App, or you can pick up some merch from my shop on Teespring. Of course, if you want to be more direct, you can always pick up a signed copy of any of my books or one of the commemorative candles celebrating the 10th anniversary of my first book, The Heirs of Menenius. These candles are handmade by me and smell of sandalwood. All support links can be found down in the video description. And I'm going to thank you in advance if you do decide to subscribe. Hey, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications on new videos. I'll be back next Saturday with the first full-length episode of Season 8, featuring guest host Ashley Greathouse on Book Recs, and a new interview guest, Garrett K. Until then, keep on writing the right way.